Today, what I want to do is I'm going to start like a series on running my plan through different AI packages. So the three packages that I'm going to use are going to be Claude, ChatGPT, and Grok. I'm sure you know what Claude is something I just recently learned about lately. It's more statistical and well, I don't know. I just learned it. It seems to do a good job of data. ChatGPT, you all know about Grok is Eli's AI package. So as usual, I'm gonna start out with just showing you where I'm at in Bolden. There's my savings, real estate, blah 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 blah. Okay, so how am I going to do this whole thing? So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to go to download print, and I'm going to download my data to a spreadsheet. And it's going to download my entire plan to a spreadsheet. That spreadsheet is going to look like this. Okay, it's going to have each category, and it's also going to have an additional thing that you can't see here, um, an additional column called I think like the whether it's average, optimistic, or pessimistic. So what I did is I did a filter, and I filtered out all of the. Let me show you. I filtered out. Let's open this guy up real quick. I basically went in here and went like this, and I'm going to use the same sheet for all three AI packages. So, and I filtered this out. Mine only has average, but I filtered it out, and I said only show me average. And then I selected it all, copy pasted, and put it into another spreadsheet and saved it as a CSV. Okay, so this is the output for those of you who use Bolden. It gives you the assumption, it gives you the category, like what is it, what the item is, and then over the years, um, what bucket, how much money is going to be in that bucket. So what I did, you got to save this as a CSV. So you go File, let's see, Save As, and then when you save it, you'll see there's a little drop down box for CSV. Okay, so what I did was, and I actually am going to do all three, and I may hit this limitation today too, but I found that Claude, like I ran out, it ran out of how much it would give me. And then also same with ChatGPT. ChatGPT said, hey, you've reached your data analysis limit. Whereas Grok seemed to give me more. It says it's going to give me like 20 questions or something like that. So I want to do this interactive. So here's what we're going to do. So we're just going to do Grok because I have to wait till tomorrow to do ChatGPT and Claude. And I kind of wanted you to see it because it's pretty, for those of you who haven't done it, it's pretty crazy. Like the stuff it finds is pretty cool. So, I mean, basically it finds all of Bolden's stuff that they give you the recommendations on. Also, I want to test this against Bolden. So I'm going to upload this. I had saved this file to temp. So we're going to go ahead and upload that guy. And then the question I want to know is, actually, no, we're going to start it out a little more. Do an analysis on this retirement plan. So I may hit limitations on this too and have to re-record this, but let's see. So I think what's really cool about this, and part of the reason why I'm not stopping and just showing you the output, is because it's just kind of fun to see this thing think. Like if you look at it, it says, okay, I'm going to parse the data out. I'm going to look for accounts, income, expenses. And then it says, I'll use this to load into a data frame for analysis. It starts telling you what it's seeing. Social Security income increases over time while work income ends. Total assets in 2056 seem positive. It's just kind of telling you as it goes. It's almost like a financial advisor is sitting there telling you stuff. So I'm going to let this roll because, like I said, it's kind of fun. It's a little slow to sit there and watch it, but I think if you don't get the experience of what it's doing, it's just kind of cool, and it's going to get even cooler. What we're going to do is once it spits out the analysis, we'll talk about it for a minute, and then what we're going to do is we're going to have it do a Monte Carlo on that, and then what we're going to ultimately do is compare that Monte Carlo to what Bolden has to say, just to see, are they close and what did they do? Because they give you this. So look at that. Right now it's looking at this spreadsheet. it's saying, hey, my assets grow about 3.6 million in 2025, but to 5.44. That's because of the house. That's the house sale, I'm guessing, is that 2056. Drawdowns are part of income, not new money, affecting cash flow analysis. So that's good. It's finding the drawdowns, saying where I'm pulling stuff from. Come on, Grok, think a little harder. I mean, it's kind of good too that you're seeing this, because if you want it, I would suggest you do it. Like, this is kind of cool because you can go out and say, hey, I mean, I use Right Capital for this too, but we can kind of, this is a great way to kind of check Bolden's numbers and see, hey, are they in the ballpark? And they kind of check each other. So, thanks for your patience. But like I said, it kind of gives you a realistic. Let me track the time because I try and keep these things to like 20 minutes. 9:25. Come on. I felt like it was faster when I did it the first time. Maybe it's doing more. So if you look at Bolden, what we'll do is we'll compare Bolden to this. We'll see what is the length, and we'll see and then we'll look at the Monte Carlo, because this is the Monte Carlo projection. Come on. And you get so tempted to say, give me the quick answer, but we're not going to do that. We're going to hold tight. Something interesting that I'm going to do a video on while we're just kind of waiting for this to finish up is I ran the Roth Conversion Explorer again. And what's funny is I did a whole video on Roth conversions. That's I don't know, it was like a couple weeks ago. And when I ran the Roth Conversion Explorer in Bolden, it actually found some conversions to do. But when I reran the Roth Conversion Explorer now, it's saying I can't find any conversions. And I haven't even applied the conversions yet. So you can see I did these conversions, these Roth conversions, but I went to put them back into the base plan. And when I put them into the base plan, what's going on here? It must be my memory card. And let's just re-expand that. There we go. When I put them into the base plan, it couldn't find anything. Wow, this is taking a long time. I wonder if it's slowing down its thinking as I'm asking it the questions. As I've been using it over the morning, I wonder if it's saying, listen, this user is using a lot of stuff, so we're going to throttle them a little bit. So that was interesting. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pause this video, and then I'll give you the outcome of this. Okay, true to form. I feel like everything's so much longer than it is. So you can see when you click that button, do an analysis on the retirement plan, it's going to take a little bit. It took 8 minutes and 23 seconds, but let's just take a quick brief look at what it did. So it says the retirement protection plan spans from 2025 to 2056, which is smart, 89 to 91, right? Plan appears to be sustainable, with total assets growing from approximately 2.69 million. That includes real estate, to 4.4 million in 2056. So let's see if that matches. Not bad. This is 4.51. This is 4.44, so it's close. The model balances cash flows by using drawdowns to cover shortfalls in early retirement years. That's totally true. It's kind of cool, right? Like that's what it's doing in those early retirement years, because I don't have the income of Social Security. It's giving me some interesting stuff here. It's kind of cool. It's giving you all this stuff by just giving it data. Pension starts 2028. Social Security starts. That's what it's saying. It's starting for Beth early. Spouse likely claims first, and then increasing significantly in 2034, which is me. It shows RMDs. So you could even probably ask it all this stuff instead of having to find the right chart. You could probably find how much do I pay over RMDs? I still prefer Bolden, and you need Bolden to generate these numbers anyway. Asset evolution, total assets, kind of cool. It just gives you some stuff. Post work, drawdowns increase, annuity drawdowns peak. That's kind of cool. An income analysis. This is kind of cool. So let's take a look. This is interesting. Oh, so this is not, it doesn't look like this shows me investment incomes. It just says, hey, I have a total income of 118,000. Oh no, I guess that is investment income. So I have like 50,000 in investment income. No, that would be 128,000. That would be 40,000 in investment income. Total income 146, and then this comes from that. Um, and then this at 2,034 Social Security for both. So that's kind of cool. It found my home sale. Um, so that's because it thinks my house is going to be worth 1,700,000, but that's just inflation. Um, RMDs, this is all kind of cool, but I still think this is just crazy amazing that you just upload the spreadsheet and it figures all this stuff out for you. Expense rises driven by general reoccurring costs. There we go. So now it's going through my expense analysis. This is interesting, right? Towards the end, I'll be at 258,000, but we know part of that's high because it found it, that I'm going to be doing rent. Now that's interesting. This is be interesting too. This is the thing I was trying to figure out in a video in the past, like what my expenses go up so high. But it looks like I'm going to get hit with Irma in the last year. So this is kind of cool. This is because this is rent, because I'm going to be doing rent, in my long-term care. Cash flow sustainability. So this is kind of cool. It just shows your excess income. This doesn't mean as much to me per se because I know I'm going to be drawing down on my principal. Taxes, so that's kind of cool. All right, so this is kind of neat. Strengths: diversified income, tax planning via Roth conversions, home as liquidity buffer, totally correct. Longevity, it's saying my longevity is a risk, which is true, totally true. And we did a video on that. Improvements: model inflation explicitly appears to be 2 to 3%, which is right. Stress risk for 5 to 7. Overall, solid plan with ample execution. Now, we could do this too. We could say, can you do a Monte Carlo graph for this data? This is kind of cool too. Let's see. The request is to create a Monte Carlo. Now, this is kind of cool too. I'm probably going to pause this because it takes a few minutes. But what's fun is once it starts, see, look, then it goes, oh, the data is a retirement projection. Monte Carlo simulation models variability in returns, inflation, and longevity to estimate success probability. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of compare this to what Bolden says. The current date means 2025 is a starting point. That's kind of cool. I don't know what a data frame is, but I'm assuming it's some sort of database or something. Have assumed returns of 6%, meaning the standard deviation is 12%. So if I'm assuming 6%, then that means that when they do the Monte Carlo, they can standard deviate 12% above, 12% below. System lacks direct image generation tools. So I don't know. It's going to show me the graph because I did this once before. For Monte Carlo, it's just kind of neat. I'll probably pause this, but you see what's going on here. For Monte Carlo, assume net withdrawal per year is fixed, as in the base case, simulating portfolio growth with random returns. That's fine. Even though I don't like that, assume net withdrawal per year is fixed. It's not fixed. Total expenses include estimated income tax payments. That makes sense. For income, fixed income includes work, Social Security, pension, home sale. Yep, that's fine. Shortfall is calculated as expenses minus fixed income. So what I'm very curious about is my expenses drop. They're relatively fixed, but they drop after my go-go years. So I'm curious, maybe we'll be able to talk this through and ask it some questions. Let's extract the total assets per year from 20 to 25. That's fine. But I mean, this is just, if you sit back and think about this, this is just from a spreadsheet. And I could have probably given it less, but the whole premise of the channel is using a software tool. So we might as well use Bolden and give it that. I could probably do other stuff with this too, like give it just maybe give it just the income and the expenses. I don't know. I have to play around a little bit. This is a start. So RMDs 40B for best 403B start in 2040, which we could get that from Bolden. Steve's age 58 in 2025 has RMDs starting at 75 in 2042. That's good. Now, what's really interesting about this is the RMDs are in the spreadsheet. So I wonder if that's a problem because in my spreadsheet, if you look at the spreadsheet, there should be RMDs in here already. Returns, they're built into here. So as it's, these are transfers. These are my Roth conversions, contributions. See, I think what it does is it looks at this, and Bolden's going to add any RMDs that need to go in there. Oh, this is just account balances, accounts, income, expense, general reoccurring. So there's my expenses, rent, IRMA. Oh, see, it's actually saying it's using Bolden. So Bolden is saying it has an IRMA expense. It didn't actually calculate that. It got that from the spreadsheet. I'll have to look at this a little more, but it's somewhere in here. I'm thinking the RMD. Oh, here's the RMDs right here. So it's already calculating the RMDs, which is really interesting. Oh, yeah. So here we go. So RMDs, there's my RMDs. So let's take a look at what this thing. So it's still thinking net cash flow for per year is calculated as contributions minus withdrawals using end of year balances. Net cash flow for each year is computed as end balance minus beginning balance, minus beginning balance minus returns. So this is really kind of cool. Like, it's doing a lot of thinking. I'm just debating whether to pause the video. Let's see how long this takes. I don't feel like we're taking this entire video again, but I needed to get done. It took 8 minutes, but I stopped it from before. So the real interesting question about some of this is how much of it's going to run the Monte Carlo, because clearly the Bolden is just collecting all this data and putting it in the spreadsheet. It's, and then it's storing this data. Okay. So this is what it came back with. It should tell us how long it seems like 8 minutes and 25 seconds seems to be the golden number. So it did 1,000 simulations. It gives me all of my if assets drop below zero in any simulation, they are set to zero, which I guess the implication there is you can't go into minus. You could theoretically take out a loan, but obviously we wouldn't do that. Success rate, percentage of simulations where total assets remain positive at the end of 2056. Here is 98%. So it does sync up a Bolden, which is kind of good. And I guess it just means that Bolden and Grok are using the same kind of assumptions. So let's put this in a chart. Please confirm if you'd like me to generate an actual image of this graph. Yes, please graph. I just want to see expenses and add expenses. I don't know why I just said please to a computer, but it would be interesting if they coded this in to where it would respond better if you said please. I don't know. I'm not thanking a computer. Not yet, anyhow. Who knows? Maybe when it's when Elon does this little robot, maybe at that point I'll say thank you. So here it's just, I'm assuming this is Python code. Yeah, .python. So it's gonna create this code in order to do the chart. It's funny, when I did this the first time, I don't remember this code, but let's see. Explanation of output. Does that mean I have to hit preview? Well, the plot is interactive. That's kind of cool. So I guess, do I preview? Let's take a look. It's funny, I remember it being just a chart. Come on. Save the code to a PY file. Ensure, no. Wait, the artifact complains to generate the graph. Run it and visualize the Monto. Well, I did. How do I run this? Preview. This artifact contains it to generate, run it. to visualize the Monte Carlo with expenses. If you encounter issues, please specify. Huh. That's interesting. Well, this doesn't, either it's running. Wait, code. How do I run the code? Maybe I should just say show me image. All right, use a line chart, blah, 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 blah. Can I close this now? It kind of, what's this? Copy contents, version history. So I would have preferred this, but it doesn't seem to be, there's not a lot of code here though, in all honesty. Net cash flows, expenses. Well, that's running. Non-zero asset, I don't know, this doesn't seem. Success rate, I guess it's just giving me that's kind of ridiculous, but here, let's close this for now so we can get a full, how to view the chart. Oh my, this seems to be, let's take a look here. Monte Carlo simulation of retirement assets with expenses. So this is kind of cool. Not the prettiest of charts, and I guess that's why they give you the code. But you can see here in the top, this must be the 90th percent. So if I get lucky in 10%, this is expenses. Oh, I see what it did. Put expenses on the right and it put assets on the left. So at the end, if everything goes awesome, then I will have 12 million in assets and 900,000 in expenses. And here, the median, I'm assuming the median is this line right here. That's not a median. No, the median must be this green line right here. There we go, median assets. So the median assets is 4.77 million. So it's more, but that's okay. And then it goes down to the explanation of the chart. So this is kind of interesting. So I'm trying to think, it would be fun. You guys should give me some questions I should ask. Like maybe I should say this. It kind of already gave me this, but what are some weaknesses in my plan? Even though we kind of already, I think it already gave me the weaknesses in my plan. And I think it already showed us this heavy reliance on fixed annuity drawdowns, which is true. Because that 455,000 or whatever it is, I have an annuity, which is really just a 3-year annuity. I'm going to be drawing down on that stuff. Conservative investment risk, rising medical costs, and lack of long-term provision. So we know the long-term care plan. I have a whole video on that. And of course, it really doesn't reflect in here because it's using the sale of my house. Rising medical costs, that's certainly a risk for everyone. Medical expense escalate from 8,546 to 65,000. The plan doesn't explicitly account for long-term care costs. That's fine. Let's see, conservative invest issue. The plan assumes conservative returns, which is true, 4 to 6% across all my accounts. And that's generally what most of my stuff is. The Monte Carlo simulation used a 5% means return with 10% volatility, but poor market performance shows assets declining in later years, which is true. I mean, that's a certain risk that we all take, right? At a certain point, you decide in your retirement, do I want to, what's more important, today or long run? I'm still kind of okay with this too, because when you think about it, you have Social Security, unless Social Security goes not bankrupt, but can't pay out. Data point, Steve's IRA. This is my house. Oh, no, see, this is interesting. Steve IRA peaks at 1.41 million in 2004, but declines to 1.3 million, suggesting sensitivity to return. So this is what I was saying. 2056 is the last year of my, I think, of my retirement. It is. And I haven't been able to figure out what that big expense is. There's a big expense in the end, and I don't know what it is. So look at its consideration, diversify investments to include slightly higher risk assets, which I've done a video on. That's kind of what I'm starting to do. Tax burden from RMDs, require minimum distribution start 2040, blah, blah, blah. It saw that I did the two Roth conversions, inflation assumptions not explicitly modeled. That's fine. Dependence on home sale. This is absolutely true. Include a buffer for lower home sale proceeds. So I could actually model that and see what happens. Lack of a dynamic withdrawal strategy. This plan uses fixed withdrawal. Now, see, here's the thing. It thinks it's fixed. So what it's asking for, which is kind of cool, right? A dynamic withdrawal strategy is like using guardrails where you only take a percentage of your portfolio, your assets, and then based on the returns of those portfolios and assets, you vary what you take out. And that means you could draw more on bigger years and less on less years. So it's fixed with drawdowns, meaning I've created my expenses and it thinks it's a fixed amount, even though it's really, I guess it's fixed for that year, but what it doesn't realize is all the margin that I have in my accounts. But yeah, see, here we go. Withdrawal strategy. This is based on floor, ceiling. Interesting that it doesn't talk about rails, which is a bigger guardrails strategy, which seems to be the way to go now. Limited buffer for unexpected large expenses. That's true. So what it's saying is it doesn't understand that I have put those reserves because Bolden isn't giving it the details. It doesn't realize I have reserves in there. Summarization. The plan is robust overall with a 98% success rate. And then it just summarizes. So this is really cool. Like I honestly, and there's probably a billion more things I could do with this if I wanted to, which I may start doing. This is what kills me. If Bolden would give me the details of my expenses, I could probably even do some really cool analysis on this stuff by expenses. Like what year is my biggest risk of expenses and stuff like that. And it could find all sorts of cool stuff for me. But ultimately, that's just Grok. So this is the first analysis I'm doing with Grok. I'm assuming it keeps my history over here on the left that I'm going to get a lot of the same responses from Claude and ChatGPT, but it'll be interesting. But one of the great things about I ask the same questions of Claude and ChatGPT, but the restraints are a lot more. Like you only get like 2 or 3 questions in ChatGPT and Claude. Well, I know about Claude, certainly ChatGPT. Whereas you also get a restricted amount, but it's every 2 hours in Grok. So I am going to end the video here. I think this is really smoking cool. So it's just another tool, right? My whole channel is about planning. What are the tools you can use? So here's another one. So take care, and I'm sticking it to Man Sunday. I'm a happy boy because I don't have to go to work tomorrow, and you could be a happy boy too. But or girl, the only way it's going to work is if you plan.